Hello guys, so this video is going to be on a topic that I feel like any horror movie fan kind of chases. This is just going to be a short little list of some of the top movies that legitimately scare me. Some even to this day I can't watch. When I say some, I mean like one. There's one on this list that I can't. I won't. I don't have to do that to myself, and I choose not to. I am going to be going in order from like least scarring or least scary to the one. And I'll be real with you. Whenever I'm editing this is whenever I go find like trailers and clips to go put into the video. If I have to go find a trailer for this last movie and the parts that like bother me, if they're in the trailer, I probably won't include a trailer. So I guess we'll just have to see. And I want to give like a little statement at the beginning of this because I do feel like some of these movies are weak. Like, and I mean that like these movies aren't by like any means like shockumentaries or like stuff that you'll find like on the dark web, or you know, there's like a horror movie iceberg list that's floating around the internet right now, and it's like none of those. Like, these are movies that scared me whenever I was younger, like in my teenage years, or like maybe the idea was really unsettling. These movies are by no means going to be like disturbing. These are all just really well written, well crafted. I mean, you know, I feel like some of these would be on maybe some people's worst ever lists, but like I said, a lot of it is to do with like when I watched them, where I was in my life currently, and you know, just the effect of like the craft of the movie. So it's really just the last movie that I'm like dreading bringing up and like thinking about and talking about, you know, but maybe this will help me like face it later. I don't know, doubtful. Let's just get this list over with. The first movie that I'm going to talk about is Annihilation from 2018. It was directed by Alex Garland. He also wrote the screenplays for the science fiction psychological horror movie called Sunshine and the zombie post-apocalyptic horror movie called 28 Days Later. This movie is based off of the novel by the same name by Jeff Vandermeer. Lena, played by Natalie Portman, is an ex-soldier and biologist that joins a mission to uncover what happened to her husband inside Area X, a sinister and mysterious phenomenon that is expanding across the American coastline. Once inside, the expedition discovers a world of mutated landscapes and creatures, as dangerous as it is beautiful, that threatens all of their lives and their sanity. So this movie, if I remember correctly, it was a success. Like, it did well. I think a lot of people wouldn't really categorize this as like a horror movie. There are scary parts, but there is something so beautiful and so unnerving about this movie. And when you watch it, you see these women go into this, like, I think they call it the shimmer, and it's basically like a bubble, and inside the bubble, like, time and matter is kind of altered, but the animals, like, it's so hard to explain like quickly, but like their DNA alters, so their matter starts to alter. Like, there's a scene where one of the girls gets attacked by an alligator, and whenever they open its mouth, you see that it has like, you know, their mouths, like there's just teeth. Just like, it's insane. Like, it looks amazing, and it's like the sunlight that shines through this like dome orb thing phenomenon. The sun rays are like rainbow, or it almost kind of looks like an oil spill, like those colors. It's just really visually stunning to watch. And then like the creatures are really messed up. And I think there's like one scene in particular that kind of gives this movie its spooky vibes, and it's with this like bear that it's mutated to the point where like it has a ability to vocally mimic. I mean, in the scene it vocally mimics one of the girls crying out for help. And it's like a way for a predator to lure prey to it. It's just messed up. Like, bears don't do that. So this like little bubble is like changing their DNA and changing what they are into something different. It's a really beautiful movie. And if you haven't seen it, if you're waiting for a sign, this is your sign. Definitely watch it. But the reason why it's on this list is because, like, there's something so hopeless and a lack of control to their situation. They go into this area, and in the movie they don't really talk about what causes it, if it can be stopped, and if what's happening inside this little dome is going to happen all over the world. Like, that's scary. It'll be post-apocalyptic, but I mean, it was very entertaining to watch. It also kept me thinking about it. I still think about that movie a lot. So yes, that is why it's on the last slot for this list. The next one on this list is, it strictly scares me because I was 14 when I watched it. I was young, I was getting into horror. If you've seen this movie before, you'll know, like, the kind of effects and the makeup that they use are really what make it good. But it's the Grudge remake from 2004, directed by Takashi Shimizu. He was the director of the original Ju-on, or the Grudge series in Japan. He also directed Moribito and the Flight 7500. And it was written by Steven Susko. Matthew Williams, his wife Jennifer, and mother Emma are Americans making a new life in Tokyo. Together they move into a house that has been the site of supernatural occurrences in the past, and it isn't long before their new home begins terrorizing the Williams family as well. The house, as it turns out, is the site of a curse that lingers in a specific place and claims the lives of anyone that comes near. This was the first real movie that I watched, like I said, I was 14 when it came out, that was involved with, like, Japanese horror. I later went on to see, like, The Suicide Club, Ichi the Killer, Battle Royale, ones like that that are, like, more well-known. But this scared the crap out of me, specifically the scene. It's, like, at the beginning, so it's, like, started really fast. It started really quick. This, like, caretaker coming to check on the couple's mom. She has dementia, but this caretaker comes to the house to, like, kind of, dress her, feed her, bathe her. But she gets lured up to the attic, and she, like, slides open the panel, and she's, like, checking up inside of it. The ghost, like, the baddie, the big bad, is inside the attic, and it, like, pulls her up by her jaw. And when you later see her in the movie, she's, like, walking down the street, and she, like, turns around and her whole jaw is missing. And, like, seeing that at 14, it just blew my mind. I had nightmares about this movie. I really strongly remember a time when I would not sleep with my bedroom light off because I was so afraid, because the ghost makes, like, appearances specifically in dark areas. There's even another scene that really messed me up, where a girl was in bed and she was kind of running from the ghost, like, in her apartment, and she, like, hides under her covers, where it's like the universal safe space for kids, right? And she, like, lifts the covers and the ghost is under there, so it's almost like if there's a dark spot, this ghost can get you, so you have to stay in the light. So that scared the actual shit out of me. Okay, so now we're getting into the territory of the ones that I kind of have to prep myself for if I rewatch. Because, like, if they do make my heart race, they kind of get me tense, but they're still, like, enjoyable, so, I will watch them. Now, for people who know me in real life, y'all know that I don't like the ocean, I don't like sea creatures, I don't like anything that could be lurking in the depths. That's not for me. I like dry land, but I will say I do like watching that in movies. I like watching scary oceanic shark water monster stuff. So, but I feel like I'm gonna get judged for this. I can't help it. It legit makes me feel anxious and like I want to throw up. But it's 47 Meters Down from 2017, directed by Johannes Roberts. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He also directed the horror movie The Other Side of the Door, which was really great. And it follows young sisters Kate and Lisa, who are traveling to Mexico for a vacation filled with sun, fun, and adventure. Lisa needs some extra persuasion when Kate suggests that they go diving in shark-infested waters. Safe in their protective cage, the thrill-seeking siblings come face to face with a group of majestic great whites. Their worst fears soon become a reality when the cage breaks away from their boat, sending them plummeting to the ocean floor with a dwindling supply of oxygen. First of all, couldn't catch me dead on a freaking boat. Anyone who's on a boat with me, or even like on land, it doesn't matter. If you suggest, hey Katie, let's go dive with sharks, we're not friends anymore. But this whole movie, from like the time that they're on the boat, which is fairly like early on in the movie, to the time of like the ending, I'm just sitting on the edge of my seat. I hate every second of it. But the scene that puts this on this list, I mean, I kind of don't want to give it away because it is like, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. Like, it's like the one really good suspenseful scene. Like, the shot was really good. I wish I would use more creative words than just good. It's towards the end and they're like coming up for air. That's all I'll say. But that whole scene, how they shot it, the idea behind it, that has to be like one of the top scenes in horror movies that like legitimately made me want to have like a heart attack. I screamed. I was so upset. Like, it was just, I'm not here for that. I mean, it was effective, obviously, because I'm like even feeling kind of nervous. I'm raising my voice and like touching my hands a lot. So, yay, anxiety. Okay, so this next one, I love to watch this one, and I have rewatched it a few times. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's a really beautiful movie to watch too. The story was really nice, kind of sad, and it pertains to things inside my life that I like outside of horror movies. Like, I'm really big into like learning more about like pagan mythology, and like different pantheons. And this one kind of follows like Norse, and like they're in like Scandinavian territory. So anyway, this one's called The Ritual from 2017, and it's directed by David Bruckner. He also directed The Signal from 2007 and had a segment in the first VHS anthology. And this movie is based on the horror novel of the same name by Adam Neville. Reuniting after the tragic death of their friend, 4 college pals set out to hike through the Scandinavian wilderness. A wrong turn leads them into the mysterious forest of Norse legend, where an ancient evil exists and stalks them at every turn. This one, what kind of put it on this list was, first of all, like the creature. Not only is it like fascinating, but it's very scary. There's, in particular, a scene that anytime I watch it still kind of gives me like goosebumps or makes me tense. It's slowly panning into, you see like these trees, like these tall skinny trees, and it's panning in and you see something long and skinny that kind of blends into the background move. Oh man. Ooh, and I want to say that's like the first glimpse, the very first small glimpse of the bad guy or the baddie, and it locked me in. I was like, all right, let's do this. What is that thing? What are they gonna do? How is this gonna end? What's so special about this forest? So this movie, like, obviously it's unsettling. It's such a unique film too, and the nightmares that I would have, they would be more like inspired by, like, I'd be lost in the forest knowing that something was after me, but I'd never see it. But like the fact that I could never see it just made it all that more terrifying, because like I was imagining awful things, whereas maybe it ended up not being that bad. But that is not the case with this movie. When you do get to see it in all of its glory, oh man, no, big no. Okay, we're down to the last 2. This next one, I like it, and I recommend it to people who want to see like a legitimately like scary movie when they ask. I also feel like this might be a little polarizing, because I want to say that it didn't get great reviews, but I don't have to answer to any, like, I don't know, horror community that is gonna think that I'm less than for thinking this is a really spooky movie. It was meant to scare people. Hi, I'm people. It scared me. Boom, effective. But anyway, it was this next one. It's it's Mama from 2013, written and directed by Andy Muschietti. Sorry. He also directed the new It remake and It Chapter 2. On the day that their parents die, sisters Lily and Victoria vanish in the woods, prompting a frantic search by their uncle Lucas and his girlfriend Annabelle. 5 years later, miraculously, the girls are found alive in a decaying cabin, and Lucas and Annabelle welcome them into their home. But as Annabelle tries to reintroduce the children into normal life, she finds that someone, or something, still wants to tuck them in at night. So the story itself, these two little girls, one's like a little bit older. I don't know kids' ages. Like one's got to be like 9 or 10, and the other one's like 5 or 6. I don't know. The youngest one is having the most trouble kind of letting go of their like feral, abandoned life that they kind of had, without giving like too much away, because you do kind of gather this from the trailer. The mama character is like protecting them and making sure that they're okay and alive and all that jazz, and the little kids become like feral little monsters, and you get to see them like that at like, you know, when the story starts to really pick up. But what makes this movie on this list is, you know how some horror movies will do that thing where they'll show the ghost or the monster too much, and then by the end of the movie, like, it's almost like you're desensitized to it, or you just get too used to it, so it's not really like scary anymore. There's not that really satisfying climax to it. Every time we see this mama character, it's almost like in a different light. There's one scene where she's under the bed, which is awful. Those like checking under the bed scenes, oh my god, absolute nightmare fuel. There's another one where she's like kind of far off in the distance, and the little girl like turns to face towards the camera, and then when she turns back to face her, she like freaking, I don't know, is she walking? She just zooms up really fast, and oh my god, it scares the shit out of me every single time. And then like I think one of the more famous scenes is like a camera flashing, and every time it flashes, like she's moving and she is closer, and oh man, no. This one, like Guillermo del Toro, who's one of my favorite directors, he's involved in this, and I couldn't find any definitive answer on this, but I feel like he had a hand in like the design of Mama, like how she looks. He was the producer of this movie, so I would assume he had some insight in like what things look like, but like it just felt like his style. So, you know, 2 thumbs up. Just, if I'm gonna rewatch it, I have to, you know, prepare myself, because when I do have nightmares pertaining to Mama, man, I usually can't get back to sleep, and I just don't like it. Okay. The last movie. This is the one that I talked up at the beginning of this video, and I already know that some people, it's not gonna bother them, and you know, I talked it up, and it's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but for my last video, I mentioned not being able to do, like, creatures with, like, needle teeth. That is because of this movie. Oh, God, okay, let's just get this over with. The movie's called Dead Birds from 2004, directed by Alex Turner. I couldn't find anything on the internet about him having other notable works, so, and it was written by Simon Barrett. William, a Confederate soldier, has gone AWOL with a crew of other men. A runaway slave and a nurse, along with William's crew, rob a bank and messily hurry to avoid the law. Looking to plan a getaway, the gang heads into an empty house to hold up for the evening. As the soldiers start arguing with one another, strange things begin happening in the house, and everyone in the group soon realizes that the place is haunted. I don't want to go deep into this, just because when I talk about it, I think about it, and I already know I'm probably going to have nightmares because I'm putting all the things that startle me the most into a single sitting. Ooh, I'm going to sleep good tonight. This movie held my attention. The actual plot of like these Western lawbreakers, like it, you know, these ragtag bank robbers finding this abandoned house and holding up overnight. And that's such a cool idea for, you know, a movie plot, and it works. This movie is effective for what it is. This movie just makes me uncomfortable. They discover that, like, the family that lived there previously were dabbling with some dark stuff that maybe they shouldn't have been dabbling with, and it, like, altered them, and then their altered, spooky ghost beings still linger on the property and haunt the place. The makeup, the CG, the special effects, all of it, very effective. 10 out of 10, scare the crap out of me. 10 out of 10 recommend, 0 out of 10 I will be rewatching. And this was one of those movies that, like, it was just on a random weekend. I went to my local Family Video when, you know, movie rental stores were still around, and I went in and I was just looking, and the cover seemed enticing, which is strange because the cover shows you, like, what the creatures that mess me up so bad look like. And I still rented it anyway. I guess I just wasn't prepared for, like, the actual delivery of their entrance into the movie. I don't know. Past Katie, you did this to me. You're dumb. But it was a random find. I watched it. I remembered really liking it, but I just couldn't stop thinking about how they looked and how it scared me, and I would, like, get really tense in the dark, and I would have nightmares, and, like, it was just a bad time all around. So, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe I'm just hyping it up a lot more than, you know, I should, and maybe I should rewatch it now that I'm an adult, and this was several years ago. I know I've only seen the movie once, so maybe it's time to revisit it. Who knows? Don't really want to. Don't really, it's yeah. But anyway, so yes, that is my list. Man, I'm so anxious after doing all that. So that brings us to the end of this video. If you want to share down in the comments movies that terrify you, maybe some that you think would terrify me, I would appreciate all the recommendations. There's a bunch of movies coming out this month that I want to watch. That way they can make an appearance on my What I Watched in March video that I'll be releasing at the end of the month. Like the new Godzilla vs. King Kong. I can't wait for that. I'm gonna go finish my chores, maybe go get a snack, go find a movie to watch, you know, fill this day off with sitting and watching some movies to make more videos in the future. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Hopefully it'll be less stressful and I won't feel as anxious. So yeah, but take care and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.